Where do you see that there isn't equal ops in the AUSA, and how will you change this? Which group do you think is most underrepresented, and what would you do to improve it? And over 300 students in halls signed a petition asking for AUSA to address the state of their accommodation. What do you plan to do to tackle this ongoing serious welfare issue?
Make it more erect. Make it more erect. You should say. No, kind of. Yeah, once it's got there, but it's just might have just got more erect.
Okay, if the welfare candidates could stand up, and because you stood up first, Jenny, I'll pass straight to you.
Jenny said he didn't want us to wait and go back to
Hi. Okay, so the underrepresented group, I go for postgraduate students. At the moment, I think that they do need more representation. What we need to do is take the services to them. So what I would do to do that is regularly meet with postgraduate students to see what they needed that we weren't offering. The group where I don't think there is equal opportunities, at the moment I noticed there isn't a men's officer on the Equal Opportunities Committee. Now some people say this isn't relevant, but then men suffer from mental health more than women, and they like to keep quiet about it, so there are issues that possibly affect men more than women. Also I think sports clubs could perhaps be more inclusive, not that I'm naming any. For the accommodation situation, I think it's really something that you have to work on with the university. It's not something one person can tackle, it is a university issue as well, so I think lobbying the university, things like this petition should be encouraged. Vote Batty.
Okay, for the group that I think is the least represented, I would say that is students who are parents. I know it's really difficult for students who are parents to get involved in the work of AUSA, and even just to fully make the most out of their studies, because it's quite difficult for them, obviously, having children. So therefore, I want to expand the Kids on Campus campaign that was started last year to allow student parents to have more involvement with AUSA, and just to make it a little bit easier for them with their studies and balancing the two commitments. In terms of equal opportunities, I would say also for the student parents, that's quite a big thing, because obviously for the same reasons, you know, they're not able to get involved in AUSA and represent their wishes, etc. To them. I'd also say that racial minority groups, also it's quite difficult for them to get involved in the work of the student association, and we need to make the student association about every student on campus and not just about the average student. So I would really push to try and get everybody involved as much as possible. And for accommodation, having lived in halls myself, I know that it can be a really big welfare issue. I would say that I would meet with the students who were concerned about their accommodation issues and work with the university to try and improve this. And yeah, so vote for me. Thank you.
The group which I think is most underrepresented is the biggest group, and that is students that work. Students in employment obviously have to juggle between time for study, time for work, paying bills, whatnot. That leads to the other question, and that is, can these students effectively participate in AUSA as students who have sufficient finances and don't have to go to work? Of course not. Now, what is my strategy on this? There is this, obviously, we are not living in an equal society, far from it. But what we can do is to make sure that students that have to work are not thrown into a very difficult situation by treatment at work. We need to focus on these students more. We need to provide help that is available. We need to also make sure that more students in employment join AUSA and then project their views on for the rest. Petition about the improving accommodation. This is linked to a much broader issue about university deciding where money goes, and certainly accommodation doesn't seem to be a priority. There have been like some movements towards improvement, which Robin, our president, has been very active with. What we have to do, we've got to make sure that pressure on our university management for improvement is continuing.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to make a rebuttal. Postgraduate students are an education issue, and employed students are also an education and employability rebate issue. Not that they won't affect welfare and equal ops, but they are mainly that concern. I think international students are actually the least represented. Getting them drawn in will be difficult. I actually, it's a case of just approaching them, getting them involved, getting them to see that they can do something. Equal opportunities. To be honest, I think throughout the university there are problems, but one thing I would say is access for disabled students to things like society and sports. Especially when you've got society going at night and it's dark in the winter, it can be very difficult to get around if you're a disabled student. Hillhead accommodation has been a big problem. It continues to be a problem. I would definitely lobby the university about that. I have to say I'm not keen on a guaranteed accommodation policy. I would also lobby Aberdeen City Council about their HMO licence fees, because they're extortionate, quite frankly, and that's putting our rents up. So that would be everything I would do.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're moving on to charities. Before we move on to charities, just to let you know that the announcement party will be in Liquid from 7:30 p.m. There'll be a bucking bronco, there'll be £1 drinks, although that's not that we promote drinking or anything like that. And it'll be a lot of good fun, and you'll find out which of these lovely people have won the positions for next year. Okay, we'll move on to charities. That's Thursday night, sorry, by the way. How would you provide adequate training for charities campaign? What levels would you do to improve charities within the local community? And how would you improve relations with RGU? So I'll read those three out again, and you'll have 30 seconds. How would you provide and Aberdeen College?